Australia, the world's oldest continent, with one of the most urbanized populations on Earth. This land of only 18 million people is a world of its own. A place where unspoilt wilderness, ancient cultures, and contemporary cities exist side by side across a landscape of dramatic contrasts. The rugged southwest of Tasmania, dazzling Sydney, the spectacular Great Barrier Reef, the lushness of Daintree, primeval Uluru, the sand and silence of the Simpson, and the grandeur of Kakadu. These and other fascinating places offer an astonishing variety of exciting and pleasurable experiences. Australia is a vast country. Slightly smaller than mainland USA, it is 60 times larger than England, 20 times the size of Japan. Arranged very much like the United States, it is a nation of 6 states and 2 territories. To the great European trading nations, Terra Australis was a new world in which they hoped to find untold riches. The first Europeans to sight the Australian coast were the Portuguese navigators in the early 16th century. In search of wealth, the Dutch followed, first to the north in Cape York, then to the southernmost tip in Tasmania. But they found no gold, no spices, just a treacherous coastline and a vast interior, forbidding and impenetrable. The quickest to move were the English. In 1770, Captain James Cook raised the English flag at Botany Bay, laying claim to an entire continent in the name of the English king, George III. In 1788, a fleet of 11 tall ships set sail from Portsmouth in the English Channel. They formed the vanguard for the modern nation of Australia, just 12 years after the United States of America had come into being. In one of the least promising beginnings to the founding of a nation, 739 convicts, many imprisoned for minor offences such as stealing a loaf of bread, made their way ashore to Sydney Cove. But others had come before the English, more than 40,000 years ago. These first settlers, the Australian aborigines, were an advanced people, the first in the world to make polished, edge-ground tools, to cremate their dead, and to create representations of themselves and the animals they hunted. Today, some of this art is preserved in the massive sandstone escarpment and cliff faces of Kakadu National Park, 96 miles from Darwin, in Australia's far north. Aboriginal paintings can be seen at sites around the park. Up to 23,000 years old, they represent probably the greatest collection of ancient art the world has ever seen. They capture the dreaming, or mythic stories of ancient Aboriginal ancestors. It's no wonder the Australian movie Crocodile Dundee was filmed here, for this is the land of the crocodile, symbol of Kakadu, an ancient, supremely powerful creature. From May to November in the dry season, one can see a variety of wildlife. The emu, a large ungainly bird that cannot fly. And the kangaroo, a unique marsupial mammal who often carries a passenger. During the monsoon months of December to April, the wetlands of Kakadu become a paradise for birds. 80% of the world's magpie geese are located here. The jabiru is Australia's largest stork, a tall and graceful creature. Sea eagles, black cockatoos, brolgas, and egrets are easily seen along the inland waterways. Kakadu is Aboriginal land, leased to the Australian government for use as a national park. Aboriginal elders like Big Bill Naiji are guardians of the land and consider it their duty to take care of it, passing on their knowledge to future generations. Darwin, population 80,000, is the unofficial capital of the top end of northern Australia and the site closest to Australia's Pacific and Asian neighbours. Darwin was founded in 1869. Apart from a gold rush-inspired boom in 1871, the town grew slowly. But all this was to change on the 19th of February, 1942. Employing firepower equal to that used to bomb the United States forces at Pearl Harbor 2 months earlier, Japanese planes attacked Darwin more than 50 times. Darwin was targeted because it was considered an important base for Allied action in the islands to the north of Australia. In one of the largest battles ever waged on Australian soil, 243 lives were lost. After the war, Darwin was rebuilt and became a flourishing centre for tourism, commerce and industry in the north. Today, Darwin still has a frontier quality. It is the gateway to Australia's north, where reminders of the colonial past mingle with current-day attractions, such as the Darwin Casino.
Does anyone know what direction we're going to go?
The annual beer can regatta takes place each August. The boats made from beer cans come in all shapes and sizes, and the boat race provides a chance to bring the family pet out for the afternoon. Darwin is also noted for the Mindil beach markets. Here, up to 60 nationalities, many from Asia and the Pacific, mix easily in a multicultural concoction of colour, music, eating, and more eating. Darwin remains a colourful and modern tropical town, uniquely situated at a place where time, distance, and cultures intersect. Two flying hours from Darwin is Alice Springs, located in the centre of the continent. The Alice, as the locals call it, is a modern outback town which also acts as a jumping-off point for the many attractions of Central Australia. Here, a still camera is essential equipment, especially if you want to capture some of life's more exotic moments. It was the camels and their Afghan masters who opened up Central Australia from the 1860s on. Explorers like Burke and Wills made extensive use of the camels, for these ships of the desert were well suited to the harsh conditions that prevailed in Central Australia. Australia is the only country in the world where camels run wild, the descendants of the Arabian camels brought to Australia late last century. Today, camels are raced in the outback. What these camels lack in navigational skills, they make up in speed. Quicker than camels was the Gan, the train that was named after the Afghan cameleers. The Gan ran to Alice Springs, and riding it was a great adventure that became part of outback lore.
Something has caught his eye. Youngsters from the cattle station have challenged the Gan to a race. They gallop across the bare, dry plain at high speed. What a picture they make, and what a setting.
In the old days, flash floods could stop the Gan in its tracks, requiring parachute drops of supplies to stranded train travellers. Today, the Gan runs between Alice and Adelaide, and it's a great way to see the red heart of Central Australia. Its air-conditioned coaches and genteel pleasures are a far cry from the rougher days of old. Alice Springs is also the home of the Royal Flying Doctor Service. Established in 1928 by John Flynn, the Flying Doctors provide a vital medical service across 80% of this vast continent.
You just put your arm across your... Yep. And relax as much as possible. Do you want to watch or what?
These flying doctors must be the most traveled medical personnel in the world. A half-hour flight from Alice Springs is Ayers Rock, the world's largest monolith, 5.5 miles in circumference and 1,140 feet high. This giant sandstone rock is the top of a buried mountain carved by wind, rain, and sun into the strangely powerful dome shape we see today. It was laid down in a vast sea more than 600 million years ago in the dawn of life on Earth. Now known by its Aboriginal name, Uluru, it is the Rainbow Rock, changing color like a kaleidoscope as the sun strikes its many-faceted surface. Uluru inspires awe. It is a sacred Aboriginal site, physical evidence of the dream time, when ancestral spirits gave the world its features. It is a site of special significance to Aborigines of the area, and in 1985, it was handed back to them by the Australian government. Today, with the National Parks people, they jointly manage the rock, bringing to it a fund of knowledge evolved over thousands of years of caring for the land. Australia's deserts are places of infinite variety, and gliding along currents of air, one can see this land from a different perspective. Great mountain ranges rise from the floor of what were once inland seas. Softly rounded domes and eerie sandstone pillars stand as sentinels, guarding a secret past, and the sand dunes, stretching endlessly, weather vanes to a landscape that has seen 100 million dawns. This was the land of Albert Namatjira, the first Aboriginal painter to be discovered by the Europeans nearly 200 years after they arrived in Australia. Namatjira painted exquisite watercolors of the landscape around him in a manner no one before had ever done. Years later, a group of Aboriginal painters sprang to prominence in Papunya, 160 miles west of Alice Springs in the Western Desert. Encouraged to transpose their Dreamtime stories onto canvas by a little-known art teacher, Aborigines from different tribes in the area forged a powerful art movement that is today recognized in Australia and art galleries all over the world. Cairns, with a population of 70,000, is 2 hours flying time from Alice Springs. It is the unofficial capital of Australia's far northeast and has become one of the country's top visitor attractions in recent years. Cairns first came into existence in 1876, a beachhead in the mangroves, a port for the rich gold fields inland at Hodgkinson River. 15,000 Chinese miners flocked to the fields, calling it the New Mountain of Gold. Fortunes were there to be made, but conditions were hard and the local tribes were hostile. Led by Christy Palmerston, the son of an Italian revolutionary, the Aborigines launched paralyzing attacks on the Chinese. Today, these bloody scenes are long forgotten, and Cairns offers a variety of pleasing outdoor activities, from horse riding and relaxing on the white sand beaches to whitewater rafting and scuba diving in the beautiful waters of the Great Barrier Reef. The Great Barrier Reef runs for 1,200 miles down the tropical east coast of Australia. It's the largest system of coral reefs in the world, and like the Great Wall of China, visible even from the moon. The waters of the reef teem with color and life. This is an underworld of drama and mystery, where great sea monsters are said to lurk. The fearsome-looking sea snake has been called the most venomous creature on this planet. There are moray eels, scorpionfish, and stinging jellyfish. Reef waters are home to the most vilified denizen of the deep, the shark. And the manta ray cruises menacingly, like a huge black-winged spacecraft from Darth Vader's evil empire. But for those who approach the reef with the necessary care and caution, its waters offer a wonderland of tranquility and adventure. The Great Barrier Reef is one of the 7 wonders of our natural world, a national and international treasure for all to enjoy. Daintree National Park borders the northern part of the reef, 50 miles north of Cairns. It is one of only a few places in the world where tropical rainforest meets coral reef. These are some of the last remnants of lowland tropical rainforest left on Earth. Rainforests support one of the world's richest ecosystems. For in an area only 1,000th of the Earth's surface, the rainforest is home to half of the world's 10 million species of plants and animals. The Daintree features fascinating characters. The riflebird is probably the animal kingdom's leading choreographer, conducting a dance that demonstrates to a prospective mate his grace, power, and consummate courtship skills. The Australian emu and the cassowary, like the African ostrich, are large birds who cannot fly. This suggests a time in the distant past when Australia and Africa were joined together. Some of the Daintree rainforest has been damaged, but fortunately, at least 30% has survived in its original state. the Daintree today remains a small and precious jewel among the great wilderness areas of the world. Two hours by air from Cairns is subtropical Brisbane, population 1.2 million, the capital of the state of Queensland. It serves as the centre for Queensland's vast agricultural and mineral wealth. For a long time, Brisbane kept the air of a large country town, its houses built on stilts with wide verandas to keep cool in the warm subtropical climate. Today, the stilt houses can still be found, but Brisbane now is a true metropolis, the third largest city in Australia. An easy drive from Brisbane is the Gold Coast, a 22-mile strip of beaches that runs along the eastern coastline. The centre of the Gold Coast is Surfers Paradise, Australia's Miami Beach. It's been a holiday spot since the 1880s, and today it offers the visitor a variety of hotels, water sports, sunshine and fun. Riding the turquoise waves is a popular pastime on the beaches of the East Coast. It's been happening since 1908, when surf life-saving clubs were first formed to assist those in trouble.
On the subtropical beach at Southport, Queensland, surf life-saving clubs from all over Australia hold their national championships. The rescue and resuscitation event, with the beltman the pivotal figure to carry out the rescue. In a tempestuous Pacific surf, many such actual rescues are made daily on crowded beaches.
In 1915, surfboard riding was demonstrated by the wonderful Hawaiian surfer Duke Kahanamoku. Since those early days, Aussies have been prominent among the world's best surfers. Canberra, with a population of 220,000, is Australia's national capital. On the 1st of January 1901, the nation of Australia was born. 7 years later, a site was selected upon which to build the national capital. Designed by the American architect Walter Burley Griffin, Canberra today is an urban planner's dream. It is a small city built around a central water body and surrounded by beautiful hills which lend themselves to hiking, fishing, skiing, and surfing at the beaches beyond. Canberra, unlike any other Australian city, is a planned metropolis with a new Parliament House, distinctive foreign embassies, and museums such as the Australian War Memorial, which details Australia's wartime involvement. Canberra is a statement in contrasts, traditional yet futuristic, a fitting capital for a young country with an ancient past. It that lies beyond the western pines towards the sinking sun, and not a survey mark to find the bounds of Brumby's Run. On odds and ends of mountain land, on tracts of range and rock, where no one else can make a stand, old Brumby rears his stock. Brumby is an Aboriginal term for wild bush horse, and Brumby's Run, a poem by Australia's most famous bush balladeer, Banjo Patterson. Banjo captured the untamed spirit of Australia in his stirring poem of praise for the wild and beautiful Brumby. Brumbies still roam the Australian Alps, the rooftop of Australia, and a spectacular setting for Kosciuszko National Park. The park is situated in the Snowy Mountains, the only part of the Australian mainland moulded by the great glaciers of the last ice age. The Alps are home to endearing bush animals such as the echidna and the paddy melon. Today, the Snowies are Australia's winter playground, with modern ski resorts to cater for this fast-growing sport. It attracts people of all sorts, from pleasure seekers to competition racers, and others with a certain style about them. An hour's flight from Sydney is Melbourne, Australia's second largest city with a population of almost 3 million. In common with the larger Australian cities, Melbourne has a very cosmopolitan and multicultural population. Known for the variety and quality of its restaurants, Melburnians are proud of the fact that they can eat a different food from another culture every day of the month, if they so desire, and the service is usually excellent too.
Outside of Greece, Melbourne is the city with the largest Greek population in the world. It reflects the multicultural face of Australia, a nation of immigrants drawn from over 160 countries. To the English, Scots, and Irish, who dominated the early years of European settlement, were added migrants from many other parts of Europe, especially after World War II. And more recently, people from Asia and other parts of the world have arrived too. This intermingling has brought to this country a diversity and vitality few could have imagined when the British first colonized Australia more than 200 years ago. Whalers and sealers had been active on the Victorian coast from the late 1700s, but it wasn't until 1835 that Melbourne was founded by a group of Tasmanian settlers yearning to be landowners. Then in the 1850s, Melbourne glittered as it became the irresistible lure for Australia's biggest and longest-lasting gold rush, a gold rush that corresponded with the great fever of California's 49ers. The city grew prosperous and took on a fine and substantial appearance. During the latter part of the 19th century, it came to be known as Marvellous Melbourne, and many splendid examples of Victorian architecture can still be seen. Melbourne is a tree-lined city, divided by a river. The river provides a waterway for real activities of sightseeing.
Flinders Street Station. Paris end of Collins Street lined by graceful plane trees create a Parisian boulevard appearance.